Welcome to the CANary Cast, the official podcast of the Mr. Canary Company. Before we get started today, please do me a favor. Comment, like, and subscribe to receive notifications when we drop new episodes. In this episode, episode number 11, we will talk about why people need a reason to look up, and one easy way to do just that. Now, this probably won't surprise you, but there's a lot of bad news out there in this world. I can also guarantee that every single person listening to this episode either is currently or has recently experienced something distressing in their personal lives. It just feels like everybody is carrying something heavy right now. Most of us spend our lives looking down at our phones, down at our bills, down at the bad news on our social media feeds. So, is it any surprise that we feel down? What happens when we give ourselves a reason to look up instead? Backyard bird feeding is not just about birds. It can be a simple way to slow down, reconnect, and provide an unsung counterbalance to the stress in our daily lives. No matter who you are, almost everybody understands what it feels like to be overwhelmed, stretched too thin, or disconnected. Work pressure and burnout are reported near all-time highs. Most households are facing unrelenting financial stress from years of ongoing inflation. Parents face difficulties, both old and new, in raising their children. We have a growing number of elders needing help to navigate the daily challenges of aging. Health outcomes seem to be getting worse, not better, particularly with mental health. Folks report record levels of loneliness and isolation, leading many to label our time as an epidemic of loneliness. Pile on the never-ending dings and chimes from our phones and devices, reminding us that there's yet another task that demands our attention, or another world event actively going wrong, and it's easy to see why folks just need a break. And it's not just personal stress. Society feels heavy too. No one will convince me that the 24/7 news cycle facilitated by social media is a good thing for our society. How does bad news become worse news? Provide a comment section for people to vent their partially informed anger for the whole world to see. That's how it gets worse. I know I've been guilty of that offense before myself. Throw in very real political divisions, economic uncertainty, fewer face-to-face interactions with family and friends, shorter attention spans thanks to algorithmically hacked dopamine systems, and you have a perfect storm for discontentment bordering on disillusionment. So, what can you and I do about it? To quote the youths of 5 years ago, touch grass. Okay, you don't really need to touch monoculture narrow-leaf ground cover popular in mid-American suburbs. The point is that we humans do need to immerse ourselves in nature on a regular, ongoing basis. Yes, we can do that in intricate, involved ways like planning and executing a week-long backpacking trip through Yosemite. Or we can do that in small, simple ways, like sitting outside and watching a backyard bird feeder. Both have value for sure, but let me put in a good word for the second type of nature-based R&R, the quieter, uncelebrated kind. When we limit our time in nature to big, flashy events like the trip to Yosemite I mentioned, we can inadvertently pigeonhole nature into a thing we partake in on our own terms. Rather, I think nature is something we are a part of. Nature isn't something other or outside of the human person. It is the setting in which the human person finds themselves living out life. Nature, properly integrated, is an integral setting of every day, not just a part of our recreational year. So even if you're nodding your head right now in agreement with me, you might wonder why backyard bird watching is a worthy routine touch point with nature. Let me tell you why. Birds do not care how you vote. Birds do not care what your job title is or when your next promotion is coming. Birds do not care what country club you do or do not belong to, or what kind of car you drive, or what kind of turmoil or personal drama is going on in your life. Birds just appreciate the fact that you've opened up your yard to them as a pit stop where they can show up and chow down. What do you get from shelling out your hard-earned limited money on feeding a flock of non-judgmental feathered freeloaders? You get a routine that reconnects you with nature right outside your home. A routine where you leave your phone inside in the junk drawer before settling into a comfy chair outside, a stone's throw away from your bird feeder. You get an opportunity to feel the vitamin D soaking into your skin while the breeze blows past your face. You get the calming sounds of birds chirping here and there, which science shows elicits a primal de-stressing response in our brains. You get the gift of slowing down. You get the gift of untethering yourself from your phone and the nonstop stream of negativity that comes from your phone. You get the gift of doing one thing and doing that one thing in nature. And sooner or later, a bird will land on that bird feeder of yours. And that bird over there on that feeder, that will give you your reason to look up. Please do me a favor. Share this episode with someone you know who leads a busy life and could benefit from looking up. Please share your thoughts on today's content in the comments section, and don't forget to like this episode. All of those interactions help us grow the reach of this podcast. Thank you for joining us for this episode of the CANary Cast. Remember, buy a feeder, create a job. See you next time.